3:17 a.m., the elevator in Kestrel Heights stopped on the 9th floor. The doors opened. The hallway was empty. No footsteps. No voices. No movement at all. But the security camera caught something else. A shadow slid out of the elevator first. It looked too thin to be a person, too tall to be a coat. It stretched across the floor like spilled ink. Then, 1 second later, a woman stepped out. Her name was Mara Ellison. She carried a small grocery bag. She turned toward her apartment. She took 5 steps. Then the footage glitched. Not for minutes. Not even for 10 seconds. For exactly 3 seconds. When the image returned, Mara was gone. The grocery bag was still on the floor, upright, as if someone had placed it there carefully. She was never seen again. Kestrel Heights was an old apartment building in a busy city. It had 12 floors, 2 elevators, a basement laundry room, and long hallways that always smelled like warm dust. The building was not famous. It was not luxurious. It was not abandoned. It was just there. A place where people lived quiet lives and avoided eye contact. Until Mara disappeared on camera. Inside the building. Between the elevator and her own front door. No signs of a struggle. No screams reported. No open windows nearby. No fire stairs door alarm. And no way out that the cameras did not cover. It became a locked room mystery. But the locked room was a hallway. And the hallway had witnesses. Just not the kind that could speak. Mara Ellison was 29 years old. She worked as a night shift medical records clerk at a private clinic. She was not a social person. She kept a steady routine. She woke late. She left for work at dusk. She came home after midnight. She bought the same groceries every week. Rice, soup, green tea, a small pack of mandarins, sometimes frozen dumplings. The security log confirmed this pattern. The doorman, Mr. Vance, knew her by her quiet nod. The mailroom clerk said she never missed a package. Her neighbors described her as polite and invisible, the kind of person you forget you have seen. Mara lived in Unit 9C, 9th floor, end of the hall, a corner apartment with one wall facing the exterior fire escape. From the outside, it looked like any other unit. From the inside, it was clean, minimal, almost too empty. A single sofa, a small table, a stack of books with plain covers. No photos on the walls, no personal clutter, like someone always ready to leave. The building itself had its own routine. At 10 p.m., the lobby lights dimmed slightly. At midnight, the heating pipes began to knock. At 2 a.m., the elevator often paused a little longer between floors. Residents joked about it. They called it the thinking box. The building was old. Old buildings made old noises. That was the easy explanation. Until the week Mara vanished. Because that week, several residents reported something new. A sound in the walls. Not a pipe. Not a rat, a soft dragging sound, like fabric pulled slowly across concrete. Always late at night, always near the 9th floor. The day before she vanished, Mara went to work as usual. Her clinic manager confirmed she completed her shift. No distress, no unusual calls, no conflict. At 2:41 a.m., she clocked out. At 2:58 a.m., her transit card was used at the nearest station. At 3:12 a.m., The lobby camera caught her entering Kestrel Heights. She wore a dark coat. Her hair was tied back. In her left hand was a grocery bag. In her right hand was her phone. She paused by the mailboxes for 5 seconds. She looked toward the elevator corridor. Then she walked inside. The elevator camera was old and grainy. Still, it showed enough. Mara entered alone. She pressed 9. She stood still. At 3:16 a.m., the elevator lights flickered once. Mara looked up at the ceiling. At 3:17 a.m., the elevator stopped. The doors opened to the 9th floor. This is where the case became impossible. The hallway camera on the 9th floor faced the elevator doors. It recorded 24 hours a day. It had no blind spots in that short stretch of hallway. Mara stepped out. She turned right. Unit 9C was down that direction. She walked away from the camera. Only 5 steps were visible before the corridor turned. Then the footage glitched for 3 seconds. When the image returned, the hallway was empty. The elevator doors were open. The grocery bag stood near the elevator threshold. The bag did not fall. It did not slide. It did not crumple. It was perfectly upright. A second later, the elevator doors closed, then opened again. Nobody came out. Then they closed again. At 3:19 a.m., the elevator went down to the lobby. The lobby camera showed it arriving empty. No Mara, no bag, no sound, no rushing footsteps, nothing. And yet Mara never reached her apartment, because at 9 a.m., a neighbor on the 9th floor noticed the grocery bag still sitting there. No one claimed it. The neighbor told Mr. Vance. Mr. Vance called Mara's phone from the lobby desk. No answer. He knocked on 9C. No response. He used the emergency master key to open the unit with permission from building management. The apartment was empty. Bed made. Shoes lined up. Work badge on the table. And the air inside felt cold, even though the heat was running. Police arrived by noon. They treated it as a missing person case first. They checked her bank activity. No withdrawals. They checked her phone location. It last pinged near the building at 3:13 a.m. Then it went silent. It did not power off properly. It simply stopped. They checked the stairwell alarms. No triggers. They checked the fire escape door. Still locked from the inside as usual. They questioned residents. Most heard nothing. A few claimed they heard the elevator chime twice. One resident said he heard a soft thud, like a hand against drywall. But nobody saw Mara after the elevator doors opened. Then the detectives focused on the cameras. The lobby camera was clear. The elevator camera was grainy but stable. The 9th floor hallway camera was the key. And the glitch was the problem. A technician inspected the system. He said the camera feed did not drop completely. It did not lose power. It did not record static. It simply skipped forward. Exactly 3 seconds. No more. No less. And the timestamp advanced smoothly, as if nothing was wrong. That detail bothered the technician, because real glitches leave scars. This one looked clean. Then they examined the grocery bag. Inside were groceries matching Mara's habits: rice, soup, tea, mandarins, dumplings, everything intact. Except one thing. The mandarins were missing. The bag carried an empty mesh pouch where the fruit should have been. It was not torn. It was not cut. It was opened carefully, as if someone had removed the fruit gently. One detective joked that maybe Mara dropped them somewhere, but residents searched the building. No mandarins were found. Not in the hall. Not in the elevator. Not in the lobby trash. Nowhere. Next, police examined Mara's apartment more closely. They found no signs she planned to leave. No packed bags. No passport on the counter. No note. But they did find something small in the kitchen drawer. A folded paper with a maintenance request number. No date. No name. Only the number and 2 words written in pencil. 9th floor. The building management checked their records. The request number belonged to a work order filed months ago. It was closed. The work described was simple. Elevator alignment check. 9th floor door sensor adjustment. The kind of thing nobody thinks about. But it was odd that Mara had the number, because she never complained. And she did not work for the building. As the investigation continued, the building itself began to feel different. Residents started sleeping with lights on. Some refused to use the elevators. And more reports came in. A woman in 7A said she heard footsteps pacing above her ceiling. But Unit 8A was empty. A man in 10D said his bathroom mirror fogged up at 3:17 a.m. every night, even when nobody used hot water. A couple in 9F said their doorbell rang once at exactly 3:20 a.m. 3 nights in a row. When they opened the door, the hallway was empty. But their peephole glass was warm. Warm like someone's eye had been pressed against it. Police dismissed most of it. Stress. Rumors. The mind filling silence with fear. But then there was the elevator log. The building's elevator controller recorded calls and stops. It was not perfect, but it was something. On the night Mara vanished, the log showed something strange. At 3:17 a.m., the elevator stopped at floor 9. Normal. But at 3:17 a.m. and 24 seconds, it recorded a second event. A door obstruction alert. That meant something blocked the doors from closing. Usually a person, a cart, a hand. But the hallway camera after the glitch showed nothing in the doorway. Still, the elevator waited longer than usual before closing, as if it sensed something that the camera did not see. The technician returned to the 9th floor camera. He checked the wiring above the ceiling tiles. He found a newer cable tied to the older lines, not installed by the building company. It ran through the ceiling toward the service closet near 9C. The closet was supposed to hold cleaning supplies and spare bulbs. But when they opened it, the shelves were almost empty, and the back wall had fresh paint. Too fresh for a dusty building. The paint smell was faint, but present. A rectangle of wall looked smoother than the rest. The edges were sharp, as if something had been covered and painted over. They brought in a specialist with thermal imaging. Behind that wall, the temperature was slightly lower, like a hollow space. The building manager protested. He said you cannot tear open walls without permits. The police pushed harder, but by the time they returned with formal approval, the rectangle area was different. The paint was dry, and the edges were no longer sharp. Someone had blended it. Someone had been there. Then came the strangest clue of all. A resident found a mandarin in the laundry room. It sat on top of a washing machine, bright and clean. No dust on it. No mold. as if it had been placed minutes earlier. The laundry room camera showed nobody entering for the last hour. The Mandarin appeared between frames. One moment, the machine top was empty. The next moment, the fruit was there, perfectly centered, like an offering. The police built their case around what they could prove, but the building offered more questions than answers. Over time, 3 main theories formed. The first theory was human, a planned abduction. Someone knew Mara's schedule. Someone tampered with the camera feed. Someone used the service closet to create a hidden space. Maybe a maintenance worker. Maybe a former resident with keys. Maybe someone who lived in the building and watched her quietly. This theory explained the clean glitch. It explained the strange cable. It explained the fresh paint. But it failed at the hardest point. How do you remove a person from a hallway in 3 seconds with no sound, no struggle, and no trace? Even the best plan leaves small mistakes. A scuff mark, a dropped hair tie, a smear on the wall. There was nothing. The second theory was mechanical. An elevator malfunction, a door sensor error, a sudden movement, a gap, some terrible accident in the wrong moment. Maybe the elevator shifted. Maybe a panel opened. Maybe she fell into a space that should not be open. Old buildings can be dangerous. Old machines can hide lethal flaws. But investigators inspected the elevator shaft. They found no blood, no torn fabric, no sign of impact, no body, nothing in the pit, nothing in the shaft walls. And the elevator ran normally afterward, like it had swallowed nothing. The third theory was the one nobody said out loud in official reports, but residents whispered it in stairwells. They said Kestrel Heights had a hunger, a pattern, a timing. 3:17 a.m. They said the building sometimes took people who lived too quietly, people with empty walls, people ready to leave, people who barely existed in anyone's memory. They pointed to old rumors. A tenant in 2009 who vanished after a late shift. A man in 1996 who left his keys on the hallway floor and never came back. None of these cases were confirmed, but the building had been renovated twice. Walls moved, closets shifted, records got lost, and a city forgets faster than it admits. Then there were the Mandarins. Why take the Mandarins? Why place one like a marker in the laundry room? Why choose something bright, round, and alive-looking against concrete and steel? Some residents began leaving fruit near the elevators. Not as a joke, as protection, as payment. After 2 weeks, Mara's case went cold. No suspect. No evidence strong enough to act on. No body. The clinic held her position for a month, then let it go. Her family visited once. They stood in the lobby and stared at the elevators like they were staring into water. But the building did not return to normal. Not fully. 3 months later, a new tenant moved into 9C. He lasted 9 days. On the 9th night, he called the building manager at 3:18 a.m. He said he heard scraping behind his bedroom wall. He said the sound was slow and careful, like someone searching for the right spot. The manager told him it was pipes. Old pipes. Always pipes. But the tenant did not sleep. He sat in his living room with the lights on and recorded audio on his phone. At 3:17 a.m., his recording captured a faint sound. Not a scrape this time. A soft chime, like an elevator bell, but distant. Then a whispering noise, like breath passing through a narrow gap. He moved out the next day. A year later, the 9th floor hallway camera was replaced. Higher resolution, better storage, cloud backups. No more easy glitches. The building management announced it proudly. They said it was for safety. On the first night with the new camera, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the elevator doors opened on floor 9. No call had been made. No button had been pressed. The hallway was empty. The doors stayed open for 12 seconds. Then they closed. When building staff reviewed the footage, they noticed something small. For a moment, deep inside the elevator, near the back wall, there was a dark smear on the reflective metal, like a handprint. Long fingers, too long. And beside it, barely visible, was another mark. A faint oval shape, as if a piece of fruit had been pressed there once, then wiped away. Mara Ellison was never found. Not in the city. Not in other states. Not in databases. Not in hospitals. Not in shelters. Her phone never turned back on. Her bank account remained untouched. Her social media stayed silent. And Unit 9C remained strangely empty in photographs. Even when new tenants tried to decorate, the pictures they took inside often came out blurred, especially near the hallway wall, especially near the corner where the service closet sat behind paint. Some residents still refuse to stand too close to the elevator doors at night. They wait a few steps back. They watch the crack where the doors meet. They listen for the chime. And if it rings at 3:17 a.m., they do not get in. They do not even look inside, because they fear they might see something waiting there. Something patient. Something that knows their routines. Something that loves quiet people. If a person can vanish in 3 seconds on camera inside a closed apartment hallway, what do you think happened to Mara Ellison in Kestrel Heights? Was it a human plan, a mechanical flaw, or something living inside the building itself?